Are you only getting waves of soldiers and these basic investigators in your lair? Well, let's talk about why. The devs gave us a great explanation on how heat and suspicion work alongside advanced agent types in the game, and I have to say that the way that they explain these mechanics is a lot different than how I initially thought that they worked. The way that I initially understood it to work was that agents leaving with suspicion would kind of add heat to a particular department, and then that would get added to the amount of heat that your criminal networks within a region were supplying. So over here we see all of the regions in Africa. They all have different sets of heat. This would all get added together, and then you'd have like a suspicion bonus that would get added to a total department level. And then as you reach different thresholds, I thought that you would unlock different advanced agent types, starting with soldiers, moving up to saboteurs, and finally rogues. And I thought this because I never saw any rogues, I barely saw any saboteurs, and I would just consistently be getting soldiers to fight against. But it turns out this is not the way that the game works at all. It turns out that actually the suspicion of agents is geared toward bringing in specific advanced types of agents. As of patch 1.3, the devs tried to make it a lot clearer which items are going to attract different advanced agent types. So the way that suspicion functions is that these investigators, as they wander throughout your lair, are going to go and start collecting evidence on what items they find. So let's speed things up and see what they start taking pictures of here. Come on, Way Garcia, what catches your interest? Let me know. Alright, so Way Garcia here has wandered into the armory, and now he's going to pull out his little smartphone or his agent device and take a picture here of our club rack. How incriminating, and this is going to attract saboteurs. So as we see here, his suspicion bar is filling up the more evidence he is gathering, and all the evidence he is gathering here in the armory is going to attract saboteurs. All of these are the same class here. We see suspicion saboteur. His buddy here just took a picture of the flying pig. Now that has no specific suspicion attracted to it, but when this suspicion level maxes out, then they're going to want to leave your base. Then they report back to headquarters, and based on the items that they took pictures of, they will then send a wave of that advanced agent type to try and deal with whatever they found in your operation. So it's important to see just kind of generally what items are going to be attracting who. Now the flying pig here is loot, and usually loot brings in rogues, as we can see over here. Let's see, I've got the World of Bones, Suspicion Rogue, Fountain of Youth, Suspicion Rogue, Meteorite, Suspicion Rogue. So they're going to try and send rogues also if they come into your actual vault and they see how much money you are stockpiling. They're going to want to send rogues to try and steal that away from you. If they find your armory, they want to send saboteurs to sabotage that operation, or your control room is really a hot spot for saboteurs. Basically, all of these items are going to cause them to send saboteurs after you. Also, of course, the incinerators. This is a saboteur hotspot. They just go to these like a magnet. The same thing for your actual power station. The power station is always going to attract saboteurs. So that is how you get the saboteurs and the rogues, is if the agents find those kind of items that attract them, and then those agents leave and deliver that suspicion over to their department. So how do you get soldiers, you ask? Well, you get soldiers if a lot of agents end up going missing in action. So if we set these guys, yeah, get rid of them. I don't want them reporting back to base. Guards are going to jump all over them now. If a lot of agents are going missing in action, then the agencies are going to send soldiers after you because they think you have a crazy, deadly military operation going. And as of patch 1.3 again, those soldiers are no joke. They come with amped up weapons, amped up stats, and can really tax your minion numbers if you don't have a very well-trained and well-employed group of advanced security agents to be able to take care of them. So once you get the upgrade to be able to have 100 health security officers, the advanced types, and higher level weapons, you can still deal with the soldier waves pretty easily. But honestly, thinking about it, I think the soldier waves are the hardest to deal with just because they come in guns blazing right from the start, and they're really tough characters. Being able to deal with the saboteurs and the rogues is probably a little bit easier, especially the rogues, because the rogues, once you catch them, you just can fight them. They have lower stats, and then once you kill them, you automatically rebuild any of the items that they stole. The saboteurs, do blow up items and then you have to rebuild them and they cause fires. So if they actually get to setting their bombs off, then they're probably the most annoying to have to deal with. But the question then is, like, are you going to be able to stop them? If you're able to just confront them before they set off any of their bombs, then they're pretty easy to deal with. It does require some extra presence of mind to always be checking the waves up here. So we see that my next wave that I'm going to be getting is some saboteurs, and then having to go and watch them and tag them specifically for being taken care of. It does add that little bit of micro, but they're going to be easier to deal with than the waves of soldiers normally. What I think is most interesting about this explanation of heat, suspicion, and advanced agent types is that it brings strategic opportunity to characters that want to play as like a pacifist genius. Now, you're never going to be able to take a full pacifist route because side stories are going to require you to kill people. You're going to be executing minions, so the true pacifist is impossible to really pull off. But in dealing with the agents, you are actually at a strategic advantage if you try not to kill them. And here we're going to have to get into a fight because the saboteurs are the ones who started the trouble, but we'll end things for them. It does seem interesting to me to allow agents to enter undercover and then leave while trying to reduce their suspicion or their resolve through efforts in your cover operation, or if you are kind of guiding them with your placement of items at the beginning of your base so that they're only going to be gaining suspicion of a certain agent type that then you want to kind of slant everything to be able to deal with. So say that you think rogues are really easy to deal with, or saboteurs, because both of those classes are not able to fight as well as these soldiers, and if you're fine with dealing with those rather than heading the waves of soldiers, you could definitely skew things to try and only bring in those types of special agents. Also, if you have henchmen or the items in your cover operation that can then reduce the agent's suspicion, you can utilize those, just kind of allow them to have free reign in your base and then micromanage deleting their suspicion once they are trying to leave. I think that this would work best, or it'll at least be the least micro-intensive if you're playing on Cane Key, where agents have to come and leave via the cover operation. Here at Crown Gold, they have this extra beach access, and you could set it up so that the hallway enters also through the cover operation, so that this entrance would like dump them into the cover operation, and then to be able to get out, they're gonna have to do that as well. But then you have this really long path that your minions have to walk to and from the bay doors to be able to run schemes and collect other items. So it's kind of hard to be able to deal with them in that way. Really, Cane Key is going to be your friend if you're trying to just reduce agent suspicion and play this kind of more pacifist mindset, because there are items here in the cover operation that will reduce agent suspicion. So you have the survey station. This is going to reduce agent suspicion, and you also have the welcome desk to reduce agent suspicion. You could really try and spam out those item types to reduce the agent's suspicion as they are leaving through your cover operation, and basically just try and get them to leave you alone, because the investigators don't start trouble with you unless you're the one who initiates a confrontation with them. And then if they are leaving with zero suspicion, either being completely turned away by your deception minions in your cover operation, or by having entered and gathered suspicion but then having that suspicion taken away by these other items, you're basically off completely free, right? You're never going to have to fight outside of the story missions. You're just going to keep on getting investigators, and they're never going to cause a problem. So I'm really interested if this style of gameplay can be substantial and be viable, because also as of the changes in patch 1.3, they made it so that agents are less likely to revisit items, and I'm not 100% sure if that means a item type or just a specific item. So say I build 50 survey stations here in the cover operation, and the agents are leaving with max suspicion, right? Are they going to go and stop at a few of the survey stations and have their suspicion completely depleted? Or are they going to stop at one and then not want to revisit any of the other survey stations because it's the same item type? I'm really curious. I'm actually going to have to try it out now. I'm so interested in this idea, and I'm going to build a cover operation that is just completely slanted towards reducing agent suspicion and seeing how far that will get me, because I mean, I am kind of tired of just fighting waves and waves of soldiers that kill a ton of my minions. Let me know in the comments if you guys have been playing around with this or seen success with a specific build in your cover operation. I know that it is going to be more micro intensive than just letting things run where you zone things so that your guards are going to automatically kill whatever gets through your security gates, but it still seems pretty interesting to me. Definitely curious if you guys have comments on how to make this kind of build, this kind of playstyle less micro intensive. So if you have any advice for me, definitely let me know, because it's very different than the kind of playstyle that I've brought to all of the other campaigns that I've run, which is I think 5 now. I'm up to 6 different campaigns now. So let me know if you have advice for me in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, especially that really wacky casino update to see if it works on just deterring the agents and eliminating their suspicion after they've seen all the incriminating stuff past your back door. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.